All right, rock stars. So now it's just me and you, and we are going to be watching Tesla, AMD, NVIDIA, Delta, Amazon, Boeing, Hughes, and SPY. And that's what's going to be on our list. That's what we're going to be watching. I'll be following pretty closely the strategy, the 10 EMA strategy, which I'm looking for a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA on both time frames, extended and non-extended hours, or I'm looking for a bull candle to close below the moving average on both time frames, the extended and non-extended hours. This is kind of what I'm looking for. We're going to look at Boeing, Tesla, and all the goods. I'll let you all know if we take a trade together, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Just go pop into Tesla. So Tesla is continuing higher. But again, I'm going to be really cautious on aggressively playing it bullish because we are trading into strong resistance, which is at 200 simple moving average. In fact, if I was by myself, I'd probably already have entered a short for a quick little scalpy scalp. At least I wouldn't be going long right there. Type in a 9 if my pre-market analysis might have helped you avoid going long right there. Enrico says, are you not looking for a high wave? Yeah, if we get a good indecision and get some good compression, I could go bullish, but I'm just going to wait out for just a few moments. All right, AMD also opened above the high of the day. All right, so we're going to wait for a bull candle to close below both moving averages. Let's go ahead and draw the support resistance pre-market for AMD. So we have some resistance here, and we have a support right there. Add that to the other line, sync and layout, sync and layout. Okay, so on the left, again, all we have is the extended hours, and on the right, we have the non-extended hours. And what we're doing is we're just waiting for a bull candle to close below the red line on both charts, or a bear candle to close above the red line on both charts. That's it. That's what we're looking for. Tesla is working on a nice little high wave indecision candle right now, which is cute. Again, it is at a little bit of resistance. NVIDIA, we are going to wait for because it did not open above or below any pivots. And let's scoot Boeing up here to the top. All right, so just as a reminder, Boeing, most likely this is a wave 3 and wave 4 is going to be coming in here soon. We might have to wait a skosh. KP, I did look at Target. Yep, and it's going to be on the list in the afternoon room from 4 to 5 Central, 5 to 6 Eastern. Really excited to review it with you, and I'm sure we can look at it a little bit later today as well. So these are the only stocks I'll be looking at right now. My boy Philip Williams is helping me short the NQs on a futures trade right now. I do kind of feel like Friday was a little bit of an exhaustive move in the markets, or at least I kind of felt that way. I'm not saying it is, but it sure felt like it. And if I'm looking at a 15-minute chart, this is the pre-market. You'll notice on the left-hand side of my screen, I'll make this chart a little bit bigger. Type in a 6 if this looks a little double topish to you. I'll draw it just in case, but if we can find a short around 314.50 later today, or maybe later this week, that could be cool. So I'm just going to write in bearish question mark. Phillips says, tell him our setup, Newsom. Oh, I didn't think you wanted us exposing your greatness, but so our setup is 1290.60, which was here, and stop loss is 1320, which is there. So that's our current futures short. I mean, really just stop loss above the previous high. I just kind of feel like the market is a little high. In fact, type in a 9 if you want a conspiracy for just a moment. I don't know if anybody does. Probably not. I don't think anyone's interested in my conspiracies, but I'll talk about it if you are. Let me hide all my drawings for just a second on the screen. Okay, here's my conspiracy. This move, same exact size as this move, which is same exact size as this move. That's my conspiracy. That's all I got. You're like, no way, Newsom. Way. 15.6%, 15.6%, and, well, 15.8%. Team, you got to pay me for something. It ain't for the good looks. Woo. Not for the good looks. Let's see. Long-term averages too. I mean, you're coming in contact with the 100 simple. Last time we did that, we kind of failed it. No, I'm not saying that we have to go lower, but I am saying I'm kind of poising myself to watch to see if we go a little lower. All right, so Tesla breaking above the 3-minute bear candle. Again, it did gap above the previous high of day, but we simply did not have a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA if we were focusing specifically and primarily on this strategy. The one thing that we did do, however, if you're a little bit more of an advanced trader, is we did retest the 200 simple moving average. I believe the snapback triggered. So if you were fast enough to play the snapback, let's see if anyone was quick enough. It was a fast one. Snapback. Anyone catch that off of the 200 SMA on daily? Matt Ringstead said he did. Nicely done, Matt. All right. So what we're doing, team, right now is we're following a very specific plan. Noted AMD pulled into pre-market support and bouncing. That's strange. Don't know why that's happening. And Boeing is up 5.2, getting a cute little move. Again, this is, I think, a wave 3. So there's certainly some power that can be had here. I'm just being as patient as possible. Something I remind myself on a frequent basis, ladies and gentlemen, very frequent basis. You do not have to make money every day to make money every month. I've asked a few traders, a few day traders, or people who claim to be full-time traders, how many times will you pull up your computer, pull up your broker, or pull up your charts and not take a trade? The answer? Pretty much never. That's what most people say. Pretty much never, Newsom. I'm always, if I'm in front of the computer, I'm going to place a trade. Maloney is in on Netflix short. Makes sense, Maloney. It makes sense. I see what you're playing. Peggy says, I do it all the time because it's out of fear. Hey, at least you know. At least you know. Okay, so I'm waiting right now. I'm not in anything. Haven't taken a day trade. For those of you who want to get really, really, really proficient at trading the first 30 minutes of the market, the exact process and walkthrough that I went through is very, very beneficial. But what I want you to do is focus on one stock and only one stock for that first 30 minutes. So if I was trading purely by myself, no one's here, you know, I'm on my couch, sitting down, eating cheesecake and popcorn and listening to Mozart, I would have Tesla up. That would be it. And I would have bought Tesla off of the 200 simple on the daily on a retest. So I would have bought probably around here. Stop loss would have been right around there. And I just would have sold. And that would have been it. That would have been my trade. Crystal says, can we talk about gaps while we're here? Yeah, absolutely. So let's do it right now. So Crystal, if we pop over to the daily chart, and what I'm going to do is kind of maximize this for a second. What type of gap is this on Tesla today? So we have a bullish candle, and that bullish candle was gapping up. What type of gap is that? So Tony's getting it, Enrico's getting it. What about Crystal? Tony's getting it. Euros is getting it. Juan is getting it. And Crystal's getting it. Yeah. So bullish retest, what does that mean? Well, this is a bullish candle, and it was gapping up. The reason I call it a retest is simply because the people who bought here, AKA yesterday, are they profitable? Okay, what do profitable traders often do? What do they often do? They sell. They take profits. So that's selling. If we're still looking at the daily chart, you see this little lower shadow right there? That lower shadow is in fact the retest. So that's them selling. Does that make sense? So them selling, right? They're taking the profits. It causes the stock to go a little bit lower. And that allows you to buy at a lower price. Peggy says that selling was all in the first 3-minute candle. Yes, correct. Enrico says, are you looking for the long as well on this? Yeah, yep. You'll be looking for the bullish trade. You'll be looking for the long. That is correct. So that first few minutes, what you're doing is you're looking to, there's a very popular term, buy the dip. Now the question is often where? Crystal says, what is the sentiment on a gap? Are there different up and down gaps? Absolutely. Yep. So what I would highly encourage you to, Crystal, if you get a chance, and we'll talk about it all week long, and I'll be helping you with it as well. But go through the intermediate trading. It's totally free. Doesn't cost you anything. And there's about 6 hours worth of content just on gaps with PDFs, homework, all that kind of good stuff. Because there are four major styles of gaps. So yeah, keep chugging along, keep crushing it, doing great. Also, we got a book on it as well. Scroll all the way down. There's an ebook, 4 types of gaps, if you want to go all the way to the very, 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 very bottom. But yeah, so this retest, what you're looking at is looking at buying it. And there's 2 interesting things that happen. If I look at the extended hours on Tesla, right? The extended hours, this little move right here, this little pullback, that is the dip, that is the buy. And you could have used, again, this 200 simple moving average on the daily chart as a location to go, oh, okay, well, let me plan for that dip. Let me analyze, is that a word? Let me pre-analyze the fact that I want to get in there based on the sentiment of this gap, based on the fact that it is a retest gap. Same thing with Boeing. So if I go look at the daily chart, and let me just hide all these lines for a second. So you'll notice that Boeing, bullish candle, gapping up. That is the retest gap. Now, if we're looking at the sentiment, we're saying, okay, well, if it's a retest gap, the people who bought yesterday are going to look to sell, take a little bit of a profit. This little lower shadow that created this morning, that is them selling, taking a profit, giving you the opportunity to realize that you, as a day trader, could plan to buy some type of dip. So if I turn my lines back on, I would not have gotten filled on this, but it's a great example. Type in a 3 if you see that I have 3 red lines on my screen. So these are the same lines that I drew while the market was closed. I drew this line, I drew this line, I drew this line on Boeing. If Boeing was my one stock to focus on in the first 30 minutes, because that's usually what I do. Again, if I'm by myself, I'm not teaching, I'm not educating, I'm not cleaning up poop off of the bed from my 10-month-old. If I'm not doing something and I'm able to be in the zone and just trade myself in the first 30 minutes of the market, I'm focusing on one stock and I'm focusing on one gap. And that's what I'm doing. So if Boeing was my one to focus on today, I would have attempted to buy at 164. My stop would have been 162. My target would have been 168. I would have done that on 2,000 shares. All right, 2,000 shares. I would have bought at 164 with a stop at 162. What's my risk if that's the case? What's my risk? 2 times 4,000. Sorry, 2,000 times 4. Okay, so 2,000 times 4. I'm doing something wrong. Risk is $4,000. 2,000 times 2. The difference between 164 and 162 is 2. 2,000 times 2 equals $4,000 of risk. So that would have been my risk, and I would have sold at 168, which is my previous pre-market high. So that would have been $8,000 win on a $4,000 risk, also known as a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio. Now, again, you guys know I didn't do that trade, but this is how analysis works. Knowing what I would have done, why I would have done it, what I could have done, why I could have done it, and actually taking that play and taking that setup. 7 to 9, if that makes sense. I'm gonna pause here and just see if there's any questions, because again, knowing that that's a retest gap, knowing that it's a really, really good retest gap, drawing my supports, drawing my resistances, I could have pre-planned that setup, taken the trade, known my risk before I even got into the trade. Am I saying that you have to risk $4,000? No, that's years and years and years of practice. You could have risked $400 or you could have risked $4. Alex says, so you don't look for reversal signals when trading a retest gap? Absolutely. But in the first 30 minutes, it's gonna be a lot faster, Alex, and you probably don't have time to really watch for those reversals. So you have to know where you're going to get in ahead of time if you can. In the first 30 minutes. If you're doing it like 2 hours later, then we have time to sit around and watch. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot faster. Okay, so we're still here. Still going through the charts. Peggy says the hammer on AMD was a nice trade. Yeah, it was. This one right here, nice little hammer. Totally agree. Added pre-market support also. Very muy delicioso. All right. Let's do our analysis for Delta. Let's get all of our lines drawn. I don't think that there's many that's really, really close. Monthly, nothing close. Weekly, nothing close. Moving average, we have the 10. Get my lines ready. 10 EMA on weekly. 32.52. All right, 20. 34.61. 20 EMA on weekly. All right, long-term averages, I don't think we have anything there. Nope. And then daily, nothing really there either. And we have some moving averages for sure. Got the 50, which I don't think is going to be an issue today. 50 EMA on daily. So this is what I do while I wait. Best trades I will ever make are me saying what I want a stock to do and waiting for the stock to actually do that thing. That could be a song. That could be a rap song. Yo, stock, let me see you do that thing. Oh, no. Down, down, down. Let me see you do that thing. Down, down, down. Hey, we could sell it. I'm down. Okay, perfect. All right. Keep an eye on Tesla. We do have a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. It's right here. This is the first one on both time frames, by the way. So we have a bear candle on the extended hours and non-extended hours. Non-extended hours look a little bit like this right here. Maloney says, thanks God that you chose trading rather than rapping. That's what you know. You haven't, you don't know what albums I've been a part of. You don't know. I may have been on an album. I haven't. I haven't been on anything ever. Let's see if Tesla can trade sideways for 5 or 6 minutes. And the reason is because earlier this morning, I mentioned I don't want to aggressively play Tesla bullish because we are getting slightly extended. Remember, I drew that Tesla was having a 1, 2, 3 wave count. I was like, man, this is a wave 3. I mean, wave 3 can go on forever, but we will most likely have a 4 at some point. So I don't want to aggressively or actively get super, super bullish at what could be or close to the top of a wave 3. This is just the analysis that I had. As far as following this exact plan, I like it a lot. The longer it trades sideways, I want that compression. Pamela, what is up, Rockstar? How are you? Steven says trading is just here until Jeremy's rap career takes over. That is true. Eddie says, what would the enter price be? 926.73. Again, I'm just going to wait for the compression just a little bit longer. If it breaks above the entry, I will look to buy a pullback. I'm just going to wait just a little bit to see what it can do. Looks like the market's having a little bit of strength out there. AMD also has a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA on both time frames. We are getting a little close to the pre-market high, so I probably will wait for a dip. Boeing, sorry, this is NVIDIA, not Boeing, I'm sorry. NVIDIA is making a little bit of a run. Boeing is still just kind of hanging out. Amazon will do all the lines for in just a moment. The Qs has made it to the top of that double top that we were looking at earlier. So now we'll see if it breaks lower at some point later today. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. And the SPY is kind of doing what the SPY has been doing for a while, which is just slowly creeping higher. So the market's had some relatively decent momentum. All right, let's put in a limit order on Tesla to go long on a pullback. I will post this chart in the chat pane. 926.73 by 913.73. Okay, so just get your limit buys set up on Tesla. This will be an official day trade. If you want to follow me on it, you're more than welcome to. If you don't have to. Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to go in Slack and post this into the official day trades. New personal day trade on Tesla. 926.73 by 913.73. Those are the numbers. And we'll watch that pretty closely. We'll know pretty quick on right now what I do on every trade before I get into it is I ask myself, where will I know I'm likely wrong? And that's going to be a close below here. A close below here, which is, let's call it 920. I will likely at that point in that stage consider myself to be pretty wrong on that trade. So Tesla doing its thing. Boeing still just essentially hanging out. NVIDIA. So we got the lines drawn on NVIDIA. We have broken out of pre-market high. I did mention that this is likely a wave 5, so that's fine. We have taken out the high of the day of yesterday. So let's watch NVIDIA very closely because this could also be a candidate to buy a pullback. What I'm about to mention is very, very important. What we'll notice is NVIDIA has this bear candle above the 10, and so does Tesla. Both of them have broken pre-market highs. Both of them are making higher highs and higher lows. So if we were to set up both entries on NVIDIA and Tesla, they look almost identical. So the important aspect is just know that they are, on a pattern perspective, pretty much the exact same trade. This is important. The more you trade, the more you practice, is you do want to do your absolute best not to have two of the exact same style trades. Because if both work, both work. But if both lose, both lose. Matt says, why is it a limit buy on Tesla? Well, Matt, mathematically, the only way to get in to the trade right now at a lower price is to use a limit order, right? If you buy it at market right now, you're going to get in on a bullish order. That's fine, but you're going to get in at 933 rather than 926. What we're doing is attempting to get in near or close to the high of this bear candle here that closed above the 10 EMA. And the only way to do that would be to set up a pullback entry, which is a limit order. Does that make sense, Matt? I hope I answered your question. Enrico says, do you always use one strategy on all your stocks? Not really. I mean, 2022 has been a year of us doing our absolute best to help traders focus and really get a very, very clean and very specific set of strategies so that they are comfortable. They know what they're doing. They know why they're doing it. They know where they're doing it. And they just really, really have mastered something. We've been working on that a lot this year. I have a few different strategies that I can employ, but one of my main goals this year, all of 2022, was just to make sure that traders feel comfortable focusing on just one strategy. Peggy says, how do you know if it pulls back to that price? You don't. You don't. What if it goes to 1,000? Then you miss the trade and you don't lose, but you don't win, but you don't lose. And that's really the key. That is it. Now, some of you, like David Wygant, I know David's already in on the breakout. So David played, because again, the more you practice the strategy, the more comfortable you're going to be. Eddie says on Tesla, my C would be 957, which is, my sell would be 957, which would be 2.4 Rs. Yep, that will be correct. If you're going for 2.4 Rs on this trade, that's right around 957. Yep. All right. AMD is kind of just still hanging out. Boeing is getting very interesting. I'm waiting for a bull candle to close below this 10 on both time frames. We might be able to short Boeing. NVIDIA still slowly cranking higher. Delta. I did my drawings for Delta. And it did take out the low of the day. So what we could do is we can keep a very close eye on Delta to see if we can get a bearish candle closing above the 10 EMA. Amazon just kind of hanging out, doing its thing. The Qs I'm waiting for. Just kind of just watching, essentially, just watching the Qs do their thing. Now, if we're practicing this 10 EMA strategy, especially for my day traders, type a 10 into the chat pane if you can clearly, perfectly, and easily identify the fact that this was a bear candle that closed above the 10 EMA on both the extended chart and the non-extended chart. Are you able to see that? All right, beautiful, because that's the point. That's what the strategy looks like right there. There was no other candle so far on any direction that would have triggered the strategy or even set the strategy up. Right, there was no other candle in any other time frame that would have even set the trade up. It was just that candle. It was the only one so far that even sufficed to fill. All right, so we are filled on Tesla. John Higgins, what's up, buddy? Paul says, what's the sentiment with the strategy? Momentum. Bearish traders that are trapped, getting squeezed out, and hopefully momentum continuing higher. All right, AMD's doing its thing. Boeing's hanging out. Delta. So Delta, I'm kind of waiting for a bear candle to close above the 10. See if we get it, but we don't get it yet. Amazon, we're hanging out. Qs, we're just kind of waiting for. And SPY looks pretty strong. So Peggy, we got filled on Tesla. And our stop loss is at 913.73. We have a predetermined amount of risk that we are comfortable losing. And we're going to give this a little bit of time to see what it can do. Matt says, what's the target? Target's going to be 1.2 Rs on Tesla, Mr. Matt. 1.2. And that 1.2, we don't have too far to go. It's going to be right about here, 942, which is essentially just that new high. $942.43. Crystal says, how long in general does it take one to become proficient and successful in trading to switch over their day job to doing this instead? It's a loaded question, Rockstar. That depends on many, many, many different variables. Many. So I'll ask you this question, Crystal. To answer that question, I'll ask you a question. If you were to play tennis and get paid playing tennis enough that it would cover your day job, how long would it take you? Crystal says, depends on me, of course. It does, but I mean, all right, I'm asking you though. You give me your answer. You personally, playing tennis, enough to get paid more than your job currently pays you. How long would it take you? Crystal says 6 months. I have no idea about tennis. Okay. So you're going to be getting after it is what you're saying. All right. Well, cool. So devote at least 6 months to trading. Go all in. 12 hours of work and practice and skill and time every single day for the next 6 months. And then get at me at 6 months from now. I can say this, you're going to want to be a part of RLT because everyone that teaches, everyone that you interact with, and everyone that's a part of the team is a full-time trader who has quit their job to do this full-time. So if you want to do that, be around people that do that. Crystal says, bro, you fry my brain on the training, and I love it. Awesome. That is good news. I like frying brains. I am, of course, a flamethrower for the frontal cortex. So frying brains is just something I have to do. Jerome says, that's why I'm here. Beautiful. Well, team, at this point, we've done all that we can do. Now we just kind of wait. I will say this, I'm not going to be in love with the markets and our bullish trade if these two candles get taken out. I'm not going to be serendipitously splendidly happy if that occurs. That'll kind of be like my little warning signal. So I'm going to do my best to kind of just let it do its thing for a little bit. And let's go look at some stuff. Jovan says, was Neo a good gap? It was. So what makes it a good gap? If we had to look at nothing else other than what we're looking at right now, which is the daily chart of Neo, what makes this a good gap? Enrico got a correct answer. Who else? Let's take a stab at this. What makes this a good gap? Javon says an open above compression. That's it. Those are the two things. Opening above the 10 EMA is definitely a bonus, right? Because the 10 EMA, can you guys see that this is a retest gap and the 10 EMA was the exact location for the retest? You guys able to see that? So that's definitely a bonus. That's always a good thing. So number one, that's a cool little thing. The part I like the most is this compression. So you had 5 days of sideways movement. And today we were gapping above, oh gosh, oh geez. We gapped above last week and the prior day. So we were gapping above pretty much everything. Good question. All right. Cool. Let's go look at Alibaba. What's Baba doing today? Baba, nothing. Look at this gap down on Friday. What an absolutely abysmal gap. So check this one out. Notice, so this is a gap on Alibaba. Type in a 4 if you can see the lower shadows from these hammer candles. All right, getting a lot of 4s. Beautiful. Now type in a 44 if you can see how it opened below the low of both of those hammers, trapping every single person who bought. All right, great. So if you were watching, planning, or looking to trade Baba, what direction should you have been focusing on Friday? Bearish. Okay, so let's go look at a 3-minute chart and just see what Baba did on a bearish time frame on Friday. Where could someone have gotten in? If you're looking for a bull candle closing below the 3-minute 10 EMA. Let's see. So we're looking for maybe some interaction because it was also a retest gap. So even though it is a bear candle gapping down, you're looking for a retest. So this is the retest all up in here. So you're shorting somewhere in here or right below the low of this candle right there. Most likely, maybe below the low of this guy. Even though that was kind of at a support, maybe you shorted there. But if you played Baba with some degree of skill, you probably made money shorting it. Can you guys see that? Most likely. You could have, probably should have. If you turn on the extended hours, I bet you it retested the free market a little bit. Nope, I'm wrong. It just kind of waterfalled lower. So here's the pre-market resistance. Here's the pre-market support. Benny says, is that an S curve? Yep. So here's the trade down. This S curve is the retest of the, retest gap. And there's the selling. Enrico, if you're being really aggressive, you probably would have played a 2-minute breakdown, but yeah, you could have done that. It was a great gap. Great gap. So Crystal, does that help at all with that gap sentiment? Apple just gapped down and got bought up immediately. No bearishness at all on Apple. Tesla is not joining the bull party in the market right now. So the Qs actually made a higher high and Tesla did not, which is a little concerning. So the broader market went higher. Qs went higher. SPY made a new high. And AMD is working to make a new high. And Tesla has not, at least not yet. So that's not the greatest sign in the world. So we're still in it. We're still going to wait, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be the most patient panda that you've ever seen today on Tesla. We can start making new highs. I might just exit for a small win and take the tiny W. With the market making new highs and Tesla already up 3.5%, 32 points on the day, and it not making new highs is a little worrisome, just a tad. All right, so AMD, we'll keep a close eye on that. Let it do its thing. Boeing. So Boeing had a really, really pretty pullback, a little pretty S curve there. So you can see Boeing, nice little rotation, a nice little bounce. Again, going higher. Really good gap on Boeing. There's the pop on Tesla. Come on, baby. NVIDIA, just crushing. Did anyone get a chance to play the pullback of this bear candle there, closing above the 10 EMA on both time frames? It's okay if you did not. This is, again, a learning experience as much as it is a trading experience. RLT is here to provide both. But let's just practice it. Let's look at it and see how could we have tell. All right. Type a 9 into the chat pane if this is, without question, a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA on both time frames. All right, everyone's typing in a 9. Beautiful. That's all we can do. Practice makes permanent. All righty. Patricia says, could you have taken the second bearish candle about 9 minutes later? Yeah, for sure. You could have. I mean, again, the goal is to take the first one if you can. But you can definitely take the second one as well. The first candle is usually a little bit better. All right, again, Tesla taking its sweet, sweet, sweet time. Well, we are in it. We are up. NVIDIA, really nice move. Delta, man, good move on Delta. No bear candle above the 10 to get in on. Amazon's kind of crushing. Hughes rolling higher. SPY. We're just slowly going higher. My conspiracy theory so far is pretty irrelevant. The time that I do get pretty bearish, though, is all threes on the Qs. 333.33. Let me get a little, I'm going to take some risk up there. That's also the 100 simple on a weekly chart. That will have been a 23% increase in the last month and a half. The neckline of the head and shoulders, a little bit of a bigger retest. The spot to get a little bearish, I think. Just a little bit. There are some swing trades I'll be kind of going through with everybody today. So I'll be in the afternoon swing trading room. This is our list for some stocks we'll be reviewing in the afternoon. Target was one of the stocks that we were looking at early this morning, and you can see it did gap up, did gap to a retest. Sorry, it did gap to a resistance, and we are retesting a little bit. Beautiful. Winnebago, I got a collar for August. So August option expiration, we got a full month. It's the 19th. The 19th is about as long as you can go. Andrew says, would you sell a covered call on AMD now or wait until earnings? I would do it now, personally. So if I pop over to AMD, so AMD have had 1, 2, 3, 4 bull candles in a row. You're coming into the 100 simple on a weekly chart. You've had 5 bull candles in a row in a weekly. You're getting into the 100 SMA on a weekly. Yeah, I will get into the collar now. Just my opinion, though, but I know that was one that me and you talked about a while ago about owning the shares and just hedging with options and just kind of seeing, spending time on that quote unquote experiment. And I hope it's working well for you. MU having a nice little move today as well. This is a really cute little gap on MU. This was not on my radar, wasn't on my list. Didn't look at it this morning, but that's okay. Let's just take a few moments to look at why is this a good gap on Micron? Because if we learn now, we can learn forever. If we learn now, we can have forever. If we learn now, we can implement forever. What do you guys think? Why was this a good gap on Micron today? Simon says yesterday was an inside day. That is correct. Simon mentions there was a really nice hammer right there. That is absolutely correct as well. You had a pennant pattern right here. That's also true. Gapping above the high of last week was Florian. That is also absolutely accurate. So not only is it gapping above the high of the day, it's gapping above the high of the week. So you had tons of compression. And ironically enough, there was actually 2 inside days. This was an inside candle and this was an inside candle. So you're gapping above the high of the week. You're gapping above the high of the day. You're gapping above the high of a bearish perfect hammer candle, which also is a bear candle closing above the 10 EMA, by the way. And you're gapping above all 3 of those time frames. Money. So where would your entry have been? Right off the high of that hammer candle. Mark says, what is the significance of inside candles? Pressure is building. Can't be inside forever, Mark, right? At some point, it's got to move. At some point, it's got to do something. That's what someone once told me. But I will also post a video in the chat pane. Inside candles, where are they? What is an inside candle and how do you trade it? Man, that sounds like a good video to send you beautiful people in that chat pane. Greg says, I watched it last week. Nice, dude. All right, squadron. So Tesla, it is just chilling like a villain. We talked about pressure building. Pressure is building on Tesla. Let me go look at the Qs. So we made another new high on the Qs. The SPY pulling back into the 10. Amazon hanging out. Delta hanging out. Nvidia just skyrocketing. Boeing doing its thing. AMD. I am interested on buying a pullback on AMD. I'm really interested at about this price. I'll watch that pretty closely. Brad says, Jeremy, how did you determine your buy price on Tesla? So I got great news, Brad. I also recorded this morning's session for you. So you can rewatch it as many times as you want. And you can just check it out, kind of see in real time what I was thinking. But the entry was once we broke higher, I was using the high of these candles right here. The high of this bear candle. So this is the first bear candle closing above the 10 EMA on that time frame. And that was really about it. Roger says, when do you move your stop? About 30 minutes after I get into the trade. All the time, every time. Oxy. Earnings right around the corner. Let's put that on the list for Tuesday, and we'll just see what it's going to do. All right. What questions do I got while we're hanging out, while we're chilling? Sure, there's some questions somewhere. I would love to get some. Brian says, can you rap again? Dude. That one time I did it, that's gonna be it. That was a once in a lifetime thing. Peggy says, let's say you miss all these great opportunities to place the TNMA trade. How do you know when to reset and look for more to take? Once it closes back above either the low or the bull candle closes below the 10 or bear candle closes above the 10. That's it. Super easy. So if we go back to the 3-minute chart on AMD, so for example, if we get a bull candle closing below the 10 right here, you can look to go short. And then if it eventually, if it doesn't, goes higher and you can get a bear candle closing above the 10, then you can get back in bullish. Enrico says, did you set AMD buy at 96.23 because of pre-market support? Correct. Sam says the Amazon daily huge gap up and then doji. How do you determine what happens next? Well, that's the cool thing with dojis. Usually you go, all right, what's going to happen next? Doji, show me. So when those indecision candles, right, that's really all it is, well, here's your support resistance. So you kind of draw your support resistance based on that doji. If it closes above that resistance, buy the pullback. If it trades down to that support, buy it low instead of stop lower. That's what's awesome about dojis is they're just like a perfect little, just draw your lines and kind of see what happens, right? If it pulls into that support, look to go long. And if it closes above that resistance, buy the pullback. You are correct. It definitely is a nice gap on Amazon. That's for sure. Crystal says, how does participating in your trading rooms work? Are you leading them or does your team, or how does it go down? So great question, Crystal. I did talk about that in the first 5 minutes of this morning, but I will share that again. There's a lot more people here now than there were earlier this morning, but I will give you an all breakdown of how this works. This is how RLT is structured every week. If you click on live trading, you'll notice that the all access pass is only $275 a month, AKA it's free. That's free. My cell phone bill is more than that. So if you scroll down, you'll see how much the training schedule is, and you can click on any given day and see the exact schedule and who's teaching it. So for example, Thursday, the 18th, you can click on and see who's in the day trading room. Looks like Dan and Johnny. You can see the exact times. Day trading weekly options hosted by Jeremy Newsom, August 13th, 1 to 2:30 Eastern. Trading strategies reviewed by Johnny Guarco. So you can go in here and you can look at the actual schedule for who's teaching what and when. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. So I am here. I'm here pretty frequently. But yeah. Good times to be had. All right, Tesla. Again, here's what's very interesting. We're going to move our stop now on Tesla because one thing happened that's really intriguing. We have a bull candle that closed below the 10 EMA, and now we're about to go bearish. So this is going to be our stop loss to lose on this trade. And if we get stopped out, we go bearish because it's a bull candle closing below the 10 EMA. So that's going to look a little bit like this. So our entry will be 916.80. Stop loss exit and bear entry. And our stop will be above the high of the day. Stop loss for bearish entry or bearish entry. Okay. So make sure that you are appropriating your risk accordingly. Again, at this stage, you should be getting stopped out and be getting in bearish on Tesla. Bearish flip on Tesla, going bear, now no longer bull. I'll make sure I post this in the chat pane. Don't feel like you're rushed. There's plenty of time to set this trade up. The 200, Steve, will likely be target number 1 for us on this particular trade. So let me break both of those down. Okay, so sync and layout. Sync and layout. $200 is 909.43. So this is going to be a target for our bearish trade. So I'm out of the bullish trade. I'll be updating this in just a few moments in the actual worksheet. Again, you have plenty of time to set this trade up, so don't feel rushed. Target 1 is going to be 909.43. So this is where I will be exiting a small percentage of our trade. I'll do 1/8 of our position. Okay, let's add this to the layout. Add this to the layout over here. So 916.80 is where we're shorting. Stop loss is 936.33. And our goal on this trade is to make more than we just lost on the bullish trade. Bullish trade worked for a few moments, but the big warning signal was, remember the Qs and the SPY were making new highs and Tesla was not. That was absolutely a warning signal for sure. Justin says, I can't short shares on Thinkorswim, unfortunately. Yes, you can. Call TOS, Justin. This will be worth the price of admission all by yourself right now. And tell them to add you to the hard to borrow program. Eddie says, can you short interactive brokers? Of course. Yep. So target 1 did just get hit on Tesla, which is the 200 SMA. So again, we're going to walk through all of this. We have 30 minutes left of me on the microphone, but this is a beautiful, incredible, wonderful learning experience. We're going to talk all about it in just a moment. But when you're talking about proficiencies at trading, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, this is a great, great, great example of that. So what I'm going to do is pop into our day trading journal and kind of fill this out. So this is because we're already in one trade and it's bearish on Tesla. I'm going to fill out the bullish trade. I'm going to go ahead and start making notes of it now, discussing how it did not work. Put my notes in and then put my notes in for the bearish trade. So I'm doing this ahead of time so I don't forget 926.73. And also, I don't stress out about the trade that I'm in right now. 913.73. 926.73 was our entry. And we got stopped out at 916.80. So we did lose a little bit less than 1R. 0.77 is my average loss, or 0.7 really. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the flip. Just a moment. I'll give a little bit more clarity. 9, 16, 80. Again, we did exit target 1 already. If you're not in, I'll show you how you can get in again. 9, 16, 80. This is going to be a fun, super exciting learning lesson. All right. So here we go. Let's walk through this particular trade. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, is this a bear candle closing above the 10? Of course it is. Yep. All right. So that was the place that we were looking to get in bullish. You either A, bought the breakout here, or B, you bought the pullback there. Got it. Now, when we were in that trade, I mean, since we're here, look, the market was ripping. Qs went higher, SPY went higher, NVIDIA went higher, AMD went higher. A lot of these tech stocks made higher highs. What was Tesla doing? Tesla was making not higher highs. Okay, that's fine. Number 2 or 3, I forget which one I'm on. Let's say number 3. Number 3, do you remember when I was getting into this trade, I said, if we close below this candle, I'm not going to love this trade. This is going to be a warning signal. This is going to be what I don't want to happen. Type in a 3 if you guys remember that. Good news is it's on the recording in case you don't remember that, but we talked about it. All right, so type in a 33 if this candle right there in green did in fact close below that candle. Now, not only did we close below that candle, but what else did we do? We closed below all the candles and we formed a little bit of a double top right there. So then not only did we form a double top, but also simultaneously you got a bull candle here that closed below the 10 EMA. So our stop was down here. We moved up our stop below the low of the bull candle. And then we had a short order to go bearish below the low of that bull candle, getting out of our long, getting into a bear trade, because the strategy that we're looking at stipulates if you get a bull candle closing below the 10 EMA, then you're going to go short below that price. That's your signal candle. That's the candle that says, hey, long didn't work. Boo-hoo. Set up the short. Guess how many times that happens to me as a full-time professional day trader? Pretty much daily. Every day, give or take. Approximately. So do you have to be fast if you day trade? Yeah, you have to practice speed. You have to know what you're doing, where you're doing it, how you're doing it. I do agree. You need to know those things. Enrico says, how do you set up bullish to bearish right away on Interactive Brokers? Well, you just set up a stop loss for your bullish trade and then set up a separate short order for your bear trade. So on the bullish trade, just drag your stop that's on the chart, just drag it up to your stop loss and then have a short trade set up. That's it. Peter says, so the Dow Jones ETF having a green bar closing below the 10 would support possibly shorting Boeing if we get a green candle closing below the 10. Absolutely. Yeah, man, I'm waiting for Boeing to get a bull candle to close below the 10. Enrico says, sorry for all the questions. I'm just eager to learn as much as I can. Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen, Enrico has to put $1 towards the RLT Foundation. Enrico, you apologize for trying to get smarter. So here's how you do that, man. Go to reallifetrading.com, scroll down, and you'll see a big donate button. Go ahead and throw in $1. Never apologize for asking questions, my man. The quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. You should apologize for not asking enough questions. You should say, sorry that my question that I asked was so dumb. Because if you can ask a phenomenal question, you'll get even better answers. That's how we learn, man. So I'm all about it, brother. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Okay. So let's pop in. So Tesla, this new trade that we have ourselves in, we're just going to be managing pretty closely and watching it. And again, just doing our best to win small or lose small in this new trade. Again, this right here is your first bull candle that did close below the 10. Now, keep in mind, if you're more of an advanced trader, let's say you're pretty fast, you're pretty nimble, you've been practicing this stuff for a few weeks, a few months, maybe a few years. Could you have gone bullish above this candle with an entry here, stop loss there, exited there for a gain? And then when you get a bull candle here closing below the 10, you short there, stop there, exit there, and you've actually won twice on this trade for 2 Rs. Could you have done that if you're a little bit more advanced? You've put in more time. You understand the strategy. You understand the system. You know how it looks. Crystal says, hell yeah. Jimmy says, I did it on paper trading. Craig Levine says, yes. Matt says, yes. You're all correct. Yep, you're all right. What's wonderful about that team is its speed, it's practice. Practice makes permanent. Yes, you do have to put in the time. You do have to put in the energy. But the more you do it, the more you'll know how to do it. That's why I loved Crystal's question when she said, Newsom, how long would it take me to make money day trading so I can quit my job? That's why I said, how long would it take for you to play tennis full time to get paid as much as your job? It's the same thing. It's a profession. Doesn't matter the profession. It could be checkers. It could be chess. It could be soccer. It could be rugby. If you're me, it could be male modeling, right? I mean, that's easy. What an obvious way for me to get paid. True story. I did get paid $50 once to be a male model, and I'll tell you guys the story. I was walking through a bookstore, and on that particular day, I was trying to woo a certain female. And I thought the best way to woo certain ladies was wear really, really, really nice high-end tailored suits. I was wearing a 3-piece suit, and if I am being honest, I was looking pretty dapper. Well, I was in a bookstore. This is when bookstores existed. So we're talking, what, 14 years ago? And I was walking around. We were going to meet at a coffee place in the bookstore. That was our meeting spot. And as I was walking around, this lady came up to me and said, hey, you're a really handsome guy. Would you like to make $50 in the next hour? And I said, sure. Obviously sounds like a scam immediately. I'm with you. So skeptically, I said, yes. She said, well, here's the thing. I have this book signing and we need 2 male models. I have one male model who's going to be there with a shirt off, and I need another male model who's dressed really nicely, and you fit the bill. Would you like to just stand there and look handsome while ladies sign a bunch of vampire books and you get paid $50? And I said, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. And I forget the book. and it wasn't a popular, like overly popular book, but it was one of those. You guys remember when vampire books were all the rage? It was one of those vampire books, and there was a bunch of ladies signing it, and I just stood there and got paid $50. So that did happen. Jose said, "What happened with the date?" She sat in the coffee shop for like an hour and a half, and I just kind of waved at her until I got finished making $50 by standing there. So she waited for me because I had money to make, dude. And then I paid for the coffee and then the date. I don't know. I don't think that one worked out. I think we went to PF Chang's after because PF Chang's was close to that store. And then I don't remember what happened. I'm sure I could recollect. Anyway, that's the story. Hope it was helpful. All right. So now what am I looking for on Tesla and on the broader markets? Well, what we have is here the Qs, huge hammer, decent bounce. Amazon's doing its thing, SPY's doing its thing, Delta's kind of hanging out, NVIDIA's kind of hanging out. Boeing, we have a bull candle about to close below the 10. This is just what the doctor ordered. What time is this? 9:39. So this will close in 30 seconds. So we're going to short Boeing below the low of this bull candle. So it's going to look something a lot like this. 169.91 by 167.70. I'll make this 70. There we go. It's going to be a $2 of risk. All right. I'm going to set this trade up, ladies and gentlemen. Let me post it in the chat pane really quick. It's $2 of risk, so it's relatively easy to calculate your risk on this one. And you guys got me for 15 more minutes. Boeing day trade short. Boeing day trade short. $8.1 Boeing. So this one has not triggered yet. So we're not in. We're only going to get in if it goes below 167.70 because it is a stop limit order. On Tesla, we're getting a pretty strong bull candle off of the 200 simple. On the daily chart. So we are retesting the 200 simple. And our stop is pretty far away. And we've already peeled off 1/8 of the position. Paul says, can you connect a broker to TradingView? You can. You can connect TradeStation. You can connect all kinds of things. Mine is simply on a different screen. So I'm here. I'm using TOS on just another screen. But you can connect brokers to TradingView. Yes. Indeed, indeed. All right. So Tesla, if you are looking to get in short for the time, if you missed a trade previously, I think you could look to short up here with a stop still up here. So try to maybe short around 922. You could short a little bit higher, but it's very, very beautiful to see how nicely we are bouncing off of not only the 200 simple moving average on the daily, but also this pre-market resistance. It's nice to see that. So that if we do end up breaking that down, that could be a decent little short. I'm gonna give it just a few more minutes to see, and then we'll lower our stop and kind of go from there, but see what's going on. All right. So again, Boeing, we have the order set up. It has not triggered yet. $2 is our risk. AMD did not fill me at 926, 96.23, but it's just slowly going higher. NVIDIA slowly going higher. Delta, decent bull candle. Amazon is up 2%. Amazon is a strong maybe. Keep a close eye on Amazon for a second. Jill says, who's coming on after you? Great question. So if we come over to live trading, come down, we can click on the day trading room. We'll get the schedule. Next up in 15 minutes is our boy, Johnny J Bones Gwarkzilla. And he'll be here guiding you all to profit land for about 3 hours, answering your questions. Johnny was one of my very first coaching students ever. Now lives everyone's dream in Hawaii with a 6-pack at 60. 60 with a 6-pack. That's his new website. I'm 34 with a negative 3-pack. KP says, on Thinkorswim, my 200 SMA was way below on Tesla. Is my setting wrong? It might be the 200 EMA, if I had to guess. It might just be a different type of moving average. All right. Amazon here breaking a little bit higher. What I'm wondering about is our ultimate target, because there is a target up here, which is like the earnings pre-market high. KP says, I double checked. It was SMA. I'm not sure. Off the top of my head. Email thomas@reallifetrading.com and he'll try his best to help you. So what I'm looking for right now is a potential setup on Amazon, because you did have a bear candle closing above the 10. Just looking at the risk reward. I want it right about there. Let me give this just a few more candles, because I kind of want to buy there, stop loss there. We could make that happen. About a 70-cent risk for about $1.50. So it's pretty okay. Tesla about to lower the stop and exit that trade. Boeing, we just haven't triggered yet, which is fine. We haven't triggered, didn't get no win, no loss. Just kind of waiting around. Delta, Amazon Qs are kind of back at that resistance. They're very strong, and so is the SPY. All right. Cool. Loads of time. So excited to be here. This is the all access pass for the entire week. Florian says, thanks, Jan. I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. I'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, creating only greatness for everyone in attendance. So here's the great news about Boeing. Type in a 9 into the chat pane if you can see that we did set the trade up. We just simply did not get filled. It never went lower. That's what I really like about the strategy, is it allows you to wait for some finality, for something to happen, for something to like set up and be in place. And then once that thing has occurred, then you can set the trade up. So it can go as high as it wants from here. We just won't be participating in it. Cancel Boeing. So not only we're not going to participate, we're not going to lose. That's a no loss scenario on Boeing. Now, I'm not saying that later we can't get another setup. I'm just saying for this exact moment in time, we're just going to cancel and kind of move on. For Tesla, if you shorted at 916.80 with me, let's look to cover for essentially less than that and just bail. Cover for less than 916.80 for a small win. And let's reanalyze later. And I'll tell you while we're doing that, give me 8 seconds to cover for that, and then I'll teach you the lesson. I got to do my best to post this in the chat pane and then in Slack. Okay. Cover for a win. Cover the Tesla short and flip for a small win. All right, so here goes the explanation as to why I'm doing that. Roger says, when do you consider the S curve on a stock? Because it looks like an S curve is forming on Tesla, which is why I'm getting out the bear trade. You are correct, my friend. So let me just hide the lines for a second. Here's what Roger is mentioning. Roger says, hey man, it looks like Tesla's doing this and then it's about to go higher. I agree with that. So number one, that's why we're looking to cover and exit. Number two, this is a retest of the pre-market high. So if I turn pre-market back on, we can kind of see that. 3 seconds. So there's the pre-market. So type in a 2 if you guys can see that. And Roger, go ahead and type in your 2 as well. All right, perfect. And then number 3, what else is there that's interesting, that's appealing, that's unique, that has some reason for us to be aware of what's going on? What else is there? Who remembers? Brian, no. Easier than that. Corey, no. Mike Teague, the 200 SMA on the daily. Yep, that is correct. 200 SMA on the daily. Remember, we have drawn that. That's on our screens, on our charts. That's why we exited some of our position there. That was why it was a target. Is because the 200 on the daily, we have it drawn on the list. So not only will we have pre-market resistance, we have a potential S curve, and we're at the 200 simple moving average, and we can get out for a profit, and we got back above the 10 EMA. It's like, hey, let's exit and then reappropriate and replan for a short later. Is that all making sense? That's why, because also it's not like this candle is bearish. So you can think to yourself, well, how would I have known all that? Spend 12 hours doing this every week for the next 325 weeks, and you'll be pretty good at it. It takes time. Ladies and gentlemen, what other profession can you just show up and make $1 million in, doing whatever you want from wherever you want to in the world, pressing buttons, not talking to anyone else on the, no customers, no receipts, no refunds, just you and the computer? I mean, trading is the greatest thing in the world. You got to spend time on it, and you have to come up with a system. That's why we did the lines this morning. That's why we know where everything is at. That's why we have everything drawn, so we can go, okay, well, here's why this is important. Jerome says you cannot do the strategy on a small account with margin. Probably not, because if it's a small account on margin, you're day trading, I guess, and you can't day trade with less than $25,000. However, type a 2 into the chat pane. You guys know that I'm handing out $200,000 for everyone here to trade with. Money should no longer be an issue. You have access to it, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Come to reallifetrading.com, get a funded account. Money literally grows on trees. You can get $200,000 to day trade with and swing trade. Every single person here has $2,000. All of you. $2,000 is your one-time addition fee. This amount of money can change your life. If you think you're good enough at trading, get in there, audition. Let's see how good you are. Get funded, make some money. Let's go. Let's get at it. All right. So I'm out on Tesla. 9/16/24. and we can reassess and we can replan all those fun things. And believe it or not, all right, so we're out on Tesla. If you do want to continue to hold, you certainly can. There's never a problem in that. Just lower your stop loss to here. If you want to keep holding, that would be where you would lower the stop loss to. What I'm going to do is just kind of see how we interact with this 200 simple. I'm just going to give it a little bit of time. Johnny Guarco is very, very good at the 10 EMA strategy. So he's going to be watching Tesla with you all for the next 3 hours. Keeping an eye on it for you. Boeing, I mean, hey, we didn't get triggered in, just kept going higher. AMD has been absolutely dominating. This is a beautiful rotation. I'm kind of sad that I missed this trade, but type in a 5 if you see the just fantastic breakout retest of pre-market high and continuation higher. And there was a lot of 10 EMA setups on this trade too. And I did try to buy this 96.23. That was my limit buy. It just didn't fill me, unfortunately, but it's a really, really good classic. Just, it's amazing to have those lines drawn because we can see it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the bear candle closing above the 10 EMA. So you could have used the high of that candle, which is what I tried to do once we broke out, to buy that level on the retest. Again, I attempted to do that. I guess I just got a little too frugal. I missed that one by 24 cents. But my boy Greg Hill made 1.3 R's on A&D. Ladies and gentlemen, type a GH into the chat pane for our boy Greg Hill. 1.3 R's is a lot of money. That is a very, very handsome return. Great trade. That is sensational. That means Greg should end the entire month of August profitably. That's what that means, right, Greg? First day of the month, you make money, protect it from here. Make sure you end the month with a gain. All right. So I will be watching Tesla. Again, you have two choices from here. If you're still in, which is not an issue at all, just lower your stop loss. I did get out. And I'll just see how it interacts with this 200, because here's the truth. We could get easily another 10 EMA and have a little bit of a better risk reward ratio, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. Because if we trade down to here and do this and bounce and trade sideways and get a nice little bull candle, I could have an entry there, stop loss there. And if that breaks down, we could have a nice flush and we could make some good money on the day. So keep an eye on that. I know Johnny Guarco will be keeping an eye on that. And the rest of the market is just boning the bears. If you want to see a bear get boned, just turn on the Qs right now, because that's what's happening. We are just sky high flying. Ladies and gentlemen, type in a J into the chat pane if the last hour and a half were beneficial for you, helped you a little bit with your